They say transformation takes months. But what if it only takes 1 week? 7 days, that's all it took for me to rediscover clarity, energy, and joy. Not through big changes, but through 5 simple yet powerful habits. These aren't the kind of habits you find on a generic list. They were hard-earned through trial, discomfort, and personal discovery. And they changed the way I live and think ever since. So, grab a cup of coffee. Find a quiet spot. Because I'm not just going to tell you what they are. I'm going to show you how they felt from the inside. Let's begin with the one that flipped my entire day upside down in the best way possible. Habit 1. Waking up early. Waking up early sounds simple, right? But for someone like me, who once cherished the snooze button like a best friend, it was a battle. For years, my mornings felt like survival mode. Rushing through routines, skipping breakfast, out the door with a chaotic mind. I never realized how much of my day I was surrendering before it even began. But then I made a promise to myself. 1 week, wake up at 5 a.m. No excuses. The first morning, brutal. I sat in bed, eyes half shut, wondering what I was thinking. But I got up anyway, and the silence that greeted me was surreal. The world was still asleep, the sky barely waking. No noise, no pressure, no demands, just space. With that space, I began to breathe again intentionally. I stretched, moved my body gently, not for fitness, but for presence. A few yoga poses, a light jog, nothing intense, but enough to say, I'm awake and I choose this day. Then came the moment that anchored the habit for me. I stood on my balcony and watched the sun rise. It wasn't dramatic, no Instagram filter magic. Just the quiet unfolding of color across the sky. But in that stillness, I felt something shift. Gratitude. Peace. The sense that for once, I wasn't chasing time. I was ahead of it. Waking early gave me more than hours. It gave me rhythm. Intention. A quiet victory before the world even opened its eyes. And the best part? It's scalable. You don't need to become a 5 a.m. monk overnight. Try waking up just 15 minutes earlier. Make space for silence. For you. Let that stillness become your sanctuary. Because the way you begin your day often decides how you carry the rest of it. And with that new beginning, I found space not just for breath, but for movement. Which brings me to the second habit that rewired my entire energy from the inside out. Habit 2. Daily exercise. Waking up early gifted me precious time. But what I did with that time made all the difference. Because clarity without movement becomes stagnation. Energy, if not directed, becomes anxiety. And so I discovered the second key. Habit 2. Daily exercise. Exercise. Not for the mirror. Not for competition. But for the mind. Growing up, I thought exercise was all about aesthetics, building muscles, chasing abs. It was something you did for approval, for pride, for image. No wonder I resented it. But during that transformative week, I approached exercise differently. I treated it not as punishment, but as a gift. Each morning, after waking early, I moved my body. Gently at first, a few stretches, a walk around the block. Then more intentionally, body weight exercises, slow jogs, deep breaths synced with each step. It wasn't about how many calories I burned. It wasn't about achieving a personal record. It was about honoring my body, the vehicle, carrying me through this life. Every bead of sweat became a prayer of gratitude. Every heartbeat, a reminder. I'm alive. I'm here. There's something profoundly spiritual about moving your body before the world makes its demands on you. It grounds you. It centers you. It reminds you that strength isn't found only in lifting weights, but in lifting yourself through discipline, through resistance, through self-respect. Some days were easier than others. There were mornings my muscles ached, my mind protested, my bed sang sweet lullabies. But I got up. I moved. I kept the promise. And somewhere along the way, exercise stopped being a task and became a ritual of self-connection. It's like telling your future self, "I've got you. I'm investing in you today." Even when it's hard, you don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy routines. You just need the willingness to show up for yourself. Because motion creates emotion. And when you move your body, you move your life. With my mind waking early and my body moving daily, something unexpected happened. My mind, once scattered and restless, began to sharpen like a blade honed on stone, which led naturally to the third habit. As my mornings grew stronger through stillness and movement, another realization dawned. Without direction, even the most vibrant energy scatters. Without intention, even the best efforts dilute. I needed a compass. And so, I found the third habit that changed everything. Habit 3, planning the day. Planning. Not just writing a to-do list filled with endless tasks. Not just scribbling obligations I already resented. But intentionally designing my day with purpose, with vision, with alignment. Every morning after exercise, I sat quietly with a notebook. No distractions, no screens. Just me, a pen, and a single question. What would make today meaningful? Not what must I get done? Not what will impress others? But what would genuinely matter to my growth, my peace, my values? I didn't plan in rigid time blocks or color-coded charts. I planned by intention. 3 priorities. 3 actions that, if completed, would make the day a success no matter what else happened. Sometimes they were simple. Call a loved one. Write for 30 minutes. Meditate before sleep. Sometimes they were harder. Face a difficult conversation. Finish a challenging project. But every plan was anchored in purpose, not pressure. Something magical happens when you plan your day deliberately. You waste less energy deciding what matters. You resist the pull of urgent but unimportant distractions. You end the day not with exhaustion, but with quiet satisfaction. It's like steering your own ship rather than being tossed by every wave. Planning gave me clarity, and clarity gave me freedom. It's not about squeezing every second. It's about living every second on purpose. Because life isn't just about being busy. It's about being directed. And as my days began to align outwardly, I realized true transformation doesn't only come from actions we take, but from the thoughts we allow to take root. Which brings us to the 4th habit. As I designed my outer world with clear intentions, I realized that the real battleground was within. Because no plan, no habit, no discipline can survive the sabotage of a restless, critical mind. The 4th habit didn't involve doing more. It involved speaking differently to myself. Habit 4. Positive inner dialogues. We are always talking to ourselves. Every minute, every hour. Sometimes softly. Sometimes so loudly that it drowns out everything else. Before that pivotal week, my inner voice was often a harsh critic. You're not doing enough. You're falling behind. You'll probably fail anyway. And without realizing it, I had become my own worst enemy. The first to doubt, the first to belittle, the first to discourage. But then I made a conscious decision. If I'm going to have a lifelong conversation with myself, I'd better make it a supportive one. So, I started practicing positive inner dialogues. Not fake cheerleading. Not delusional affirmations. But honest, empowering truth. Instead of, "I can't," I whispered, "let's try." Instead of, "This is too hard," I said, "You've handled worse before." Instead of, "You're not good enough," I reminded, "You are growing and growth is messy." I spoke to myself as I would to a friend, with encouragement, not criticism, with patience, not pressure, with hope, not judgment. And slowly, the mind that once felt like a battlefield began to feel like a garden. Words became seeds, and each positive dialogue planted resilience, self-respect, and quiet confidence. It didn't mean I never struggled. It meant that when I struggled, I had a gentle inner coach, not a ruthless inner critic. Positive inner dialogue isn't about ignoring flaws. It's about believing that you can work through them. It's not about being naive. It's about being nurturing. Because the words you say to yourself become the soil from which your life grows. And as my thoughts began to lift rather than drag me down, there remained one final habit, perhaps the most transformative of all, that stitched together everything I had built during that week. With early mornings reclaiming my time, exercise strengthening my body, intentional planning guiding my day, and positive dialogues fortifying my mind, there remained one final thread. One habit that didn't add more noise to my life, but invited a sacred pause. The habit that transformed my days from fleeting moments into meaningful chapters. Habit 5. Daily reflection. At the end of each day, before collapsing into sleep, I carved out just 10 minutes for one practice. Reflection. No screens, no distractions. Just a journal, a pen, and raw honesty. I asked myself 3 simple questions. What went well today? Where did I struggle? What did I learn? Some nights, the answers flowed easily. Small victories, completed tasks, kind words shared. Other nights, the struggles weighed heavier. Missed opportunities, moments of impatience, lingering self-doubt. But reflection wasn't about judgment. It wasn't about scoring myself on some invisible report card. It was about witnessing. Witnessing my growth. Witnessing my humanity. Witnessing the silent evolution happening within me, day by day. In a world that rushes forward without pause, reflection pulls us gently backward. Not to regret, but to remember. It teaches us that every day, no matter how ordinary, carries seeds of progress, lessons of resilience, moments of beauty. Some nights, I smiled at small triumphs. Other nights, I winced at small failures. But every night, I felt anchored, rooted in awareness, grounded in truth. Daily reflection reminded me, you are not just living days. You are crafting a life, and the life worth living is the one you are awake enough to notice. Those 5 habits, simple on the surface, profound in practice, reshaped the rhythm of my life. Waking early reclaimed my time. Moving daily strengthened my body. Planning intentionally aligned my actions. Speaking kindly nourished my mind. Reflecting nightly deepened my soul. 1 week was all it took to see the difference. 1 week to feel more present, more alive, more anchored than I had in years. And the best part? This journey doesn't end after 7 days. It compounds. It evolves. It deepens. Every sunrise offers another chance. Every breath, another beginning. So if you're waiting for the perfect time to change, stop waiting. Your life is waiting for you. Right here, right now. One habit, one choice, one moment at a time.